On, beautiful people, welcome to another episode of Love, Lust, and Badass Soul. I got the bad habit herself, Crystal, in the building. What's going on, man?
Another Thursday, beautiful day, another day to get back into what we're trying to reestablish. So I'm happy to be here once again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm Hayes. Thank you guys for joining, but let's get into it. So first up, this is kind of like a to wet the whistle, so to say. Like Joe Smith, did you see the stuff with Joe Smith and his wife on social media?
Yes, and I'm like, another one. Like, why are we in these people's business? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the whole even the fact that she was so laid back on like the initial video of like live streaming her and him getting into it about the OnlyFans and whatnot, and then for the follow up of her getting on TMZ and then saying he left and like now she's all crying and I don't want to call anybody's like reactions fake or anything. I don't know these people from a can of paint, but it's just like I don't know why broadcast the personal shit going on in your marriage, like outside of the thing, like we'll talk about if it's right or wrong to have an OnlyFans and not let your spouse know that you have it, but overall it's like I don't, maybe I was just raised different. I think we're getting to a different age. Like you keep your personal shit personal. You don't
amen.
air the dirty laundry of the family out in public. That's a little crazy.
Oh, I definitely agree. Like, you know what I mean? There's certain things that, if other people know, that's cool. And then there's some stuff, like you said, there's some stuff that just meant to be kept private. Like her
Yeah,
live stream and all that stuff, like that really wasn't necessary. Like you're already at an insult to injury.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Now the problem behind it all. What is your opinion on somebody's spouse having an OnlyFans and them not knowing about it?
I mean, definitely when you're in a marriage, you're supposed to be open about certain things. If you decide, you're going to make a little money on the side doing this or that, being that you're married to somebody else, I mean, they may not agree, but if I'm going to tell you, at least I'm going to tell you, you're going to know. You know what I mean? Not to say that you can filter necessarily the content that I'm putting out, but if I have respect for you, then at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping it cute.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it's funny. This came out like a couple of days after I think it was Lotto who like posted the fact that she like asked her dude, who we still don't know who he is, by the way. Unless it is what it is. If she can post certain things, it's just like just have decency, right? Like that's the thing to me. Like, and she came out, she added a little bit to it on when she was on TMZ saying that she was a adult actress before when he met her, and he should known that once they started struggling, that's what she was going to go to. And it's like, to me, you can't assume anything. Just communicate it, right? Communicate it. And if it's something to the fact where you're like, no, this is something I'm going to do regardless. And if it's his choice to decide if he wants to deal with it or not. But at that point in time, like, don't rob people of their choices, I guess is what I'm saying in that, right?
100%. 100%.
So, a little weird, but hey, it is what it is, man. Y'all got to stop putting so much out on Instagram, though. Like, y'all got to chill on that. With that said, moving in. So you had actually sent me a video, and it was what was the title? Like they started off by saying, "Do men love more authentically?"
Yes.
And in this it said that the women fall in love with the process, the courting, the dating, the little things. Whereas men, once they feel like, hey, no, god damn it, I actually fell in love, it comes with a different level of responsibility. I don't know if I agree with it 100%. I may even cut in the clip in this so people can hear it too as they're listening to it. But like, what is your opinion on what was said in that?
I mean, most definitely, I can kind of see it from both sides. I mean,
Mhm.
granted, I'm a woman, I'm not a man, so I don't know what y'all go through or what your feelings are, what your process is. But I mean, I feel like women are more easy to fall in love with the idea of a person or want to build that person or mold that
Mm.
person into something that they want. Where a man, he's very specific. Men, or at least I'll say most men, I won't say all, most men are kind of not sure of their emotions and their feelings. And it's kind of a process. It doesn't happen as quickly as it does for women. But I mean, when a man knows, he knows. But with women, he might tell us the right things and boom, we're in love tomorrow. He might buy us the right things and boom, we're in love next week. So, I mean, there's definitely a different thought process in regards to it. I mean, men could be in love with a woman's looks, their body, whatever it is at the end of the day. But I feel like it's definitely a longer process for a man and it's a more of a sure process.
Mhm. And the thing is that I feel like so the courting process, the being single process for men and women are very different. I think women are very like they see a guy that they like and they kind of be intentional and try to get it. Like men cast a wide net, right? They shot at a lot of people, but once that hits, right, and you start realizing that you have feelings for a person, I think that that's where things start differing for men and women even more. So like, so understanding the clip of him saying like explaining the responsibilities that come with a man falling in love and embracing that love for a woman, but I don't know if I say that. I don't know if I agree with that men love more authentically. I just I don't know. I don't. That's something that I've been thinking about literally since I've seen the clip, and it's something that I still don't know quite how to feel about it because it's like authentic is what is genuine to you, to that specific
Mhm.
person, right? So like even if the thing is that you fall in love with the process, you fall in love with the courting, you fall in love with going on the dates, you fall in love with the traveling or whatever it is, if that's something that's authentically to you, and I mean some people do it just for status and things like that, but if that's something that is truly meaningful to you, then who's to say it's any less authentic, right? Like so I guess that's where I kind of battle with it some.
I mean, I definitely agree with what you said there that
Mhm.
it's whatever is authentic to you. I mean, nobody can kind of argue what your process is for you and what you feel at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely in agreement with you. I mean, there's parts of it that I'm like, I can kind of see this, and there's parts of it I'm like, I don't know.
I feel it. I feel it. I think ultimately, like, I'm glad that it was one of those conversations as well. Like, because even in the women in the clip, like initially when he said that, you saw it and heard it. They're like, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" But then as he got to explaining it, they kind of understood, and then it was an open dialogue. And I think that's the important part in this as well. Like, so often those type of things, it becomes a battle. Like, no, I love more authentically. Like, and I'm glad that it just didn't get into that. I think sometimes if we get to the place of listening to each other more, right? Listening to what our opinion is and listen to understand, not listen to try to combat or listen to try to. I always just call it like weighing pain. Like, and this ain't necessarily pain, but it feels like usually men and women get into this thing where when they have conversations, like, no, we got to measure who has it worse or who, and it's like it doesn't always have to be that way, right?
Most definitely.
So
I mean, we could agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, you want to be heard. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to agree with my opinion, but allow me to have my thought process and you have yours, and us come to kind of a discussion of understanding of sorts for sure.
great point on that one. Great point on that one. When you hear about the process, so I'm going to ask, flip that and ask you to you, like, what is the process to you? And I know that's personal, but like when you think of the process of falling in love, what is that process?
You know what? It's kind of crazy for me to say. I don't know if I've ever really been in love. Like I've loved people, but there's two different types of love. There's
Mm,
I could say I love you, I have some type of feelings for you, and then there's me actually being in love with you. I've
mm,
loved many people, but have I truly been in love with someone? I don't think I can say that because to me, love isn't just a feeling, it's not just an emotion, it's, you know what I mean, it's everything. Like can I really see myself without that person? Like how does that person enrich me? How does that person help me grow? Like that's the process to me, and I don't think I've really had that. I feel like I've been close to it,
hmm
but I don't think I've had it.
That hey, listen, that's a level of where a lot of people wouldn't admit that, right? Like, because I think we get so caught up in like the feelings at that time, and I think like you pointed it out, great. There's a different feeling of having love for someone and being in love with someone. So it's like that's hey, listen, that we may have to make that its own topic for another episode. Like real talk.
I got a
That's
lot to say
deep.
about that
That got
one.
deep. That got deep. That got deep. So, but yeah, that's actually a great topic. God, listeners, if you guys are listening to this, we'd love to hear how do you feel about not only the process of falling in love, but let us know like, have you ever been in love, and how do you view the difference between loving and being in love? If we hear from you guys on that one, it'll help flesh out that topic a little bit more when we talk about it. But let's go ahead and head into the second topic. So the next one is I sent you a clip from the same page, and it was this woman talking to this guy. He had asked like about having sex. How do you get to the point of having sex? And basically, her saying that she doesn't have sex before she gets into a relationship first, which is something rare nowadays. And then the point that kind of where you could tell he was is about to turn at is that he asked like, okay, so I'm supposed to not have sex with other people during the talking phase, and she said no. And so like, and then talked about like the showing restraint and things like that. Like we live in an age where a lot of people don't have that mindset. And I'm not saying one way's right or another. Whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you, works for you. But what was your opinion seeing that?
I mean, I'll insert my own personal opinion. So for me, I definitely agree. in a certain sense. At the age that I am now, sex is the easiest thing to come by. If you're
Mm.
attracted to somebody, you know, chances are you're probably going to sleep with that person. But at the end of the day, at the age that I am now, Lord, I'm turning 40. Um, at the age that I'm turning now, I definitely want a more meaningful connection. What do you have besides what's between your legs? Like, can you show me something different? I mean, when you have that connection with somebody, the sex is that much better. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? At the end of the day, sometimes we're just, getting our little thing on and you don't really feel anything after that. But what comes with you truly having feelings for that person and really understanding that thought process and how that person operates, I feel like that opens up another level of attraction that's just a totally different scenario. So I'm not disagreeing with what she's saying, but for her to not expect him to be sleeping with other people in the talking stage, I think that's a little wild. That then, if you're not giving it to him, somebody else gonna give it to him. So,
I mean, and here's the thing, I agree with that, right? Especially as, I mean, you guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I maybe share a little bit too much inside baseball. Men have gotten mad at me before. There's the men's secrets I share on the show, but I think that um like as a man, right? The moment that we because we can pursue all day, right? And we can even have all intents and purposes of saying, well, once we get to this point, I'm going to be committed to that person. But best believe, more times than not, until that commitment happens, and unfortunately, sometimes even after that commitment happens, niggas is fucking other people. We're just gonna be real with it. Like we're just gonna be real. And so when people hear that that's the expectation of, well, no, if you're gonna talk to me, if you're gonna pursue me, and we're agreeing that while we're not dating officially yet, we're moving towards that. I don't want you to talk or interact with not interact, but sleep with other people. A lot of men will say, okay, cool, yeah, 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 I'm just gonna hide it a little bit better, right? So like and that's the truth of the matter. But I do think that there's something that you said that even I had to understand as I got older, right? Like as men, we are trained to like think the conquest, right? The conquest of everything. And we talk to each other and things like that. And we talk about it like we conquered this woman by being able to sleep with her and not date her, right? And I think as you get older, you start realizing, like you said, sex is the easiest thing to come by. Literally, the
mhm.
easiest thing to come by. It don't like the people who like complain about it. It's just like y'all just can't have nothing positive going for yourself because even ugly people, sex is the easiest thing to come by if that's just what you're after and you want. But I do think that it makes you start valuing people different when you see the
Mhm.
value in the person and you have to get to that first before the sex aspect happens. And like I said, whatever floats different people's vote. I'm all for people. I've always said, hey, if you want to go out and grab some dicks, go out and grab some dicks, right? I ain't got no judgment. If you want to fuck a bunch of people and you single, you not hurting nobody, that's on you, right? I don't vilify anybody for that, men or women. And a lot of men do that with women, like, oh, I can do this, but women better not. To me, if you single, you not hurt nobody, you not lying, you being safe. Do whatever. If you want to have a different dick inside you every single day, have fun on that. I ain't got no judgment. But it's a different level of control. It's a different level of intent as well when you can contain that and realize I need something more than that. And that's where stuff
Mhm.
starts really clicking, I think, for people on a different level when you realize that's cool, but I need more than that. So
Exactly. Most definitely. Like, I mean, most of the people that I've come into contact with these days, that's the quickest thing. I don't want to have that sexual conversation. I know that I'm a very sexual person by nature, so I know that's going to come easily, but I
mm.
want to know something a little bit more. Let me be attracted to you because of how you think or, the type of character that you show or, your work ethic or something else. Like, give me a little bit more. Like, that's cool. You can send me the dick pic. That's nice, but
How
what
many
else you
random
got?
ones do you get randomly in a year? If you had to say, like honestly, how many because we always think it's crazy, but literally, if you had to put a number on it, how many random dick pics do you get a year?
Honestly, it happens more so on Snapchat than anything else. Like I'll get a
That's
random
crazy.
snap and I'm like, who dick is this? Or like in a year, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say at least like 20. Like it's bad. Like I have to be
Mhm.
deleting people. I'm like, I don't even know your name. Like, how did you get on here? Like I was like, that looks nice, but no.
I always think like, has that ever like? I'm sure it's worked for people where it's like, boom, here's my dick, and people are like, bet, let's link up. But it's just like it's niggas is weird. It
It
is
just
what it
makes
is.
me think that you're probably doing that to everybody. You done sent it to the masses, and whoever is sticking and saying, you know what, maybe I'm gonna see you tonight. Like you wanna come over, then you know what I'm saying. But I'm just at that age where if that's what I want to do, I'm gonna come to you, Fred. I don't need you to send me anything or, try to woo me, I'll call you.
Drop them draws. Is that how you? Is that what you
I'm
say to
gonna come
people?
over, meet me at 10 o'clock.
Yep. Hey, there you go. But yeah, interesting topic on that one. Like, do you think, as far as like where you are now personally, like, is it to you that when you're at the talking phase before the actual commitment, do you want the person that you're talking to not be having sex with anybody else, or do you kind of just, if you're honest with me, cool, we can take it. Like, what side do you
I
have?
definitely believe in honesty. At the end of the day, if we're going to be
Mhm.
talking and I know I'm not engaging with you in that regard, you know what I mean? As long as you keep it open, you know what I'm saying? And this is what you're doing. And we get to that point to say, you know what, we're ready to take this next level. If this is what we're going to do, I'm going to need you to cut Sally, Susie, Karen. I'm going to need you to cut them off because I know what I'm going to give you is going to be something that they never gave you. So,
And I think that's a conversation that people need. That needs to be part of the also the conversation of deciding that you're going to be committed to each other, even having get opening the door of having sex is be able to say, okay, I need to know who else you're sleeping with. Are you being safe? We need to cut that. Go get tested together.
most
These are
definitely.
conversations people need to happen and or be comfortable having in 2023. I always say this. How can you be comfortable swapping body fluids with somebody, but you aren't comfortable enough to talk to them? Like that's crazy to me.
Eh, believe me, I have a friend that lives in in the states. I won't say what state because they'll probably know this is them that I'm talking about. But he had a random encounter with a woman, and she did not want him. She wanted the child, and I'm like, but I don't understand like how you got with the like. You have too many kids, sir. Like you're out here swapping fluids with everybody, and I'm not understanding the thought process behind it. Like diseases are real these days.
Yeah, and there's some shit you can't get rid of. But so it is what it is there. But let's go ahead and move into the questions we got today. We got two emails again today. This one's titled "Guy insisted on not using a condom. How big of a red flag is this?" Big. That's all we're gonna say. It's a big red flag. But we'll
As
go ahead
red
and
as your
read the email.
background and as red as my jacket.
Facts. This says this. We've been dating for a few weeks. He's been amazing in all aspects of dating so far. We tried to hook up for the first time, and there was hardly any foreplay before he wanted to have sex, and no oral, which was disappointing. He tried to have sex without a condom, and I said no. He was literally shocked and insisted that we don't use one, and tried to put it in me twice, and said not without a condom. As I said, not without a condom. I basically had to physically block my hole with my hand. He said condoms kill it for him. We didn't end up having sex. I've never had a guy put up that much of a fight to wear a condom. I feel like this is a huge red flag, but he has been amazing in every other way and has treated me well so far, so I'm confused. What experience do you have with this type of man? How big of a red flag do you think this is, given if he's been treating me well with everything else? That one's specifically a question to you.
It doesn't matter how he treats you, he could treat you like gold. At the end of the day, to put yourself at risk where you do not know that person, I'm sorry, at the end of the day, I value my life, my health, my worth over all of the things that you could say and do for me. That is a huge, huge red flag. I mean, not to say me personally, if I was to have a choice, I wouldn't
Mhm.
want to. Because I mean, let's be honest, it limits certain type of interactions. But if I'm being honest, at the end of the day, safety is first. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to live to see however many years and not at the hands of, one stupid moment that somebody else made because I didn't get tested or you didn't get tested. That's something that we could do together if we get to that point at the end of the day and we know that we're going to be exclusive to each other. But girl, just because he's treating you good doesn't mean that you need to overlook that. That overlooking may turn into something that you cannot overlook that's going to be lifelong. Don't do it.
Yeah, and my thing is, I'm gonna be real again. If you told the man no, and then you literally had to block your hole so he won't try to go in it, I'm sorry. That's borderline rape. Let's just be clear here. Like consent means also if you don't consent without a condom and he tries to do it anyway, that's literally so. Like to say what red flag is, it's a huge one, right? Because not only, regardless of how he treated you, to your point, like he's literally hearing something that you say that you don't feel comfortable with, and basically saying, "Yeah, fuck all that."
He has
That's
no
a red
respect.
flag.
He has no respect
Yeah.
for her at the end of the day, because I shouldn't have to tell you no more than once. If I've said no the first time, you need to take it. I don't need a "are you sure?" I don't need the for you to try again. No is definitely no. Like you said, consent is important. If I'm not consenting to engaging in those activities and I'm giving you verbal and physical signs that I do not want to engage, you should not be going any further than that.
That's just what it boils down to. That's just it. And so, yeah, if to answer the overarching question is how big of a red flag it is, it's a huge red flag. And so, to me, that the sign of that just means that if you were to even do that and agree to it, but then on top of that, if you were to get into a committed relationship with this person, they've already said your needs come second to theirs. That's what they're saying.
I couldn't have
So
said it any better.
I'm sure that's not something that you want to sign up for. So
No.
huge red flag on that one. Huge red flag.
Rethink that, girl.
Yeah, yeah, go do something else. Let's get this one is crazy. The second one that we have today is having sex with roommates a bad idea. So it says this: I've lived in a shared apartment with two people from my university to be able to afford rent. We are two girls and one boy, me, this is the guy is writing in the email. We're all in our third year now, which is infamous for our major to leave absolutely no free time, meaning all we do, meaning we've all had no sex since at least summer. And in our stressful situation, a bit of casual sex would be beneficial for us all. We all talk quite openly, having heard or accidentally heard each other having sex at least once. With one of the girls, I've already talked about having sex a while back, and I know she'd be fine with it, but I'm kind of hesitating. Do y'all think it would ruin our relationship, or rather benefit it, getting to know each other more? We don't want to have a secret in front of our third roommate, but it's quite random to just walk up and ask if she wants to have sex with us. Even if we get her on board, will we be only able to have threesomes for it to be fair, or so that no one gets jealous or feels left out? What do you guys think of regarding these 3 points? Listen, my boy, I feel like you're writing in a fantasy. I feel like you have romantic, like you really think that it's going to be like, hey, yeah, my two female roommates, let's go ahead and keep having threesomes. Like, to me, that's crazy. But even if it was open, you got to realize, I don't care what nobody says. Emotions, jealousy, whatever eventually gets involved in some shit. And if that's your living situation, you don't shit where you eat. That's my personal opinion.
I am definitely in agreement. At the end of the day, one of those three parties is likely to catch a certain level of feelings that perhaps the other person does not have. At the end of the day, keep the roof over your house. If you've had other people and they heard you, where are those people? Why can't you call them back?
Yeah.
Why can't you call them back? That's my thing. If you want to engage in it, everybody has to be consenting. If you two are gonna sneak and do your own thing, that's your business. But the fantasy of you being able to engage with both of the women, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So you could keep going to bed at night and having those wet dreams, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, like my boy, I listen, I respect the dream. But it's you gotta let that go, man. Like if you have time for that, you got time. Like again, as we said earlier, sex is one of the easiest things to come by. I'm sure you can find somebody else. Don't shit where you eat, brother.
No,
Don't do that.
don't do it.
Don't do
Your
that.
stuff gonna
Younger
be
me did
out the
some
door
shit
the
like
next day.
exactly. Like the thing, don't shit where you eat, don't shit where you work. The workplace relationships too is something that I'm like, y'all gotta chill on that. I've never seen a situation. No, I can't say never, because actually one of the jobs that I worked at when I worked at Edward Jones, I won't release the couple's names. Everybody knew they was fucking, and they now are married with 3 kids.
Oh,
So
it
shout
works
out
for
to them.
some, but it's the
Yeah.
likelihood of it is nil.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Like leave the roommates alone, please, please don't mess with your roommates. But yeah, but that's it. That's all we got for today, Chris. So how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Keep the questions coming. Some of y'all have some real interesting questions, but the last episode, I'm gonna still need for you to write back in. I need to know what happened with the wife.
That's a fact. That's 100% fact. Go ahead and give me your social media. Let's get up out of here.
Well, you can follow me at Bad Habit with two eyes. Definitely stay tuned. There's definitely a lot more to come from me. We're just getting started over here.
Absolutely. You guys know where you can follow me at. You can follow me at CEO Hayes. But more importantly, you can follow us collectively at Love Lesson BAS on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, lovelessonbas@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the show, you can do so at 614-547-2039. For the bad habit, I'm Hayes, and we up out of here. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.